The Chakra Chronicles show is brought to you by the Own Your Power Radio Network. In this show, we'll feature light workers and share stories about healing, spiritual awakenings, intuition, past lives, and other magical shit. Stay tuned. Hey. Welcome to another edition of Chakra Chronicles, one of the newest shows on Own Your Power Radio and Own Your Power TV. The Chakra Chronicles show is where light workers share stories of healing, transformation, and other out there shit. I'm Coach Simone Kelly, intuitive life coach, holistic business coach, and Reiki master. And today we have a special guest. Her name is Angela Armstrong, and she's an intuitive coach and energy healer. Welcome to the show, Angela.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Good. I'm so happy to have you. So, and I've known Angela for how many years?
Don't tell him.
At least 15?
A long time.
At least 15. It's been a minute.
Oh, wow. Yeah, at least 15.
Yeah, at least. So, yeah. So, all right. So, today we're going to be talking about a topic that's very common to many folks, but they're still a little confused and don't know what it is. So, what's the topic?
So today's show is called What the Heck Are Chakras? So we're going to break down the definition, cover the 7 chakras, and then share how you can open them and live your best life, or your most balanced life, we'll say. Exactly.
So let's talk about the definition. So the definition of chakra or chakras, that's actually a better way of saying it, but most of Americans, you know how we change everything. And it's just stuck in my head. So you say tomato, I say tomato. So we're going to call it chakras for today. So basically the word chakra is derived from Sanskrit, and it means wheel. The literal translation in Hindi means wheel of spinning energy. So if people were to see a drawing of a chakra, people that could actually see energy, it looks like cyclone, like little energy wheels down your body. I always say that they see pictures of people doing yoga positions and they see like circles down them. It's not just the front, it's also in the back. And an easy way to describe it is when you meet somebody for the first time, you usually either like them or you don't like them. And sometimes it's a gut feeling, but it's not always that. Like, let's say their energy is blocked. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're a bad person. They just might be very guarded. Has that happened to you before, where you met somebody and you're like, or the opposite, where you're like, oh my God, I love them.
That has happened in both situations where you're like, and then you just wait. It's like it's a wait and see, because you can't just be like, oh, y'all, I'm warning you, you in danger, girl, right? Like you got to like really just kind of, watch it. But 9 times out of 10, I'm right. So energy never lies. Right. It never lies.
Right. So sometimes you might be just a very guarded person. So you come across as very unapproachable, maybe mean, or nasty, but you might not be. Sometimes a lot of people assume you're one way, and then they're like, oh my God, you're so nice, or you're so cool, or, they assume one thing about you. But the chakras never lie, the energy never lies, the intuition never lies. So just pay attention to it. So share with us a little bit about the article we found that goes into depth about energy.
All right. So chakras, they can become blocked over time. So they're like, imagine like an old house, an electrical system. So sometimes that you have short wires, they have like little energy interrupters. So, and it could be from your emotions. You could be depressed. You could feel like anger, things like that. So sometimes they need to be rewired and rebalanced. So we're going to teach people, and we're going to talk about that on how they can do that. And then also they can be more in touch with their emotions too.
Exactly. And I also tell people, this is the wake-up call for many people, chakras that are blocked can turn into physical ailments later down the line. So you want to check it early and catch it, so that doesn't turn into an actual, like, God forbid, cancer or something.
Very true.
So let's talk about the root chakra first. The root chakra is the color red. It's related to being grounded, basic needs being met, survival. You want to add on to that?
Yes, safety's one too. So sometimes when your root chakra is unbalanced, or you've had a traumatic experience, you might not feel safe anymore. So that's a big one too. That's a really big one.
Finances.
Yes, money,
power,
yes.
respect.
Right. Right, because those are big ones, right? So that like if they're off balance, you can usually check in with somebody and know that their root chakra could be off.
Right. So I use the example of because when I do readings, I read people's energy right away. Like I'll write it down and I pick up the energy. So if their root chakra is blocked, 9 times out of 10, it's either money, something going on with their money, like they lost their job or whatever, or they can be filthy rich and just have a really hard living situation. Maybe they're on the verge of divorce and they're sleeping on the couch, or they have a deadbeat sister that came to crash.
Right.
I don't know. I always use that example. You would think I had a sister, but like deadbeat sister sleeping on your couch, and the energy is off. Or you can the other negative aspect of the root chakra, because we talked about having survival, right? So let's say somebody that grew up poor, they start buying a bunch of stuff. Oh, hoarding. They have a whole bunch of stuff. You ever seen that show Hoarders?
Yes.
A lot of those people got jacked up root chakra.
Sure, right. Exactly. And it's usually because of some traumatic experience that happened, so they don't feel safe anymore. So this is what makes them feel safe, like stuff.
Yeah, and make them feel like, exactly. Like too much stuff. Papers from 1947, really.
Right.
So that's the root chakra. And what you can do, what can we do to stay more grounded? What are some things? I say gardening for sure. And you
gardening, plants. We had mentioned, we talked about plants before in a previous conversation. Plants are really important. Walking barefoot in the grass, I think anytime you're barefoot, hug a tree. Don't forget to hug a tree, right? But I think anytime you are barefoot and you're walking, even if it's in your house, like because you're actually touching the earth. So I feel like that's a big thing. That's a big thing. It's connection.
Yes. One of the things, this website is called the4winds.com. I love it. The author that I really like, his name is Alberto Velodo. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. Velodo, the Spanish people, so they don't pronounce V, but whatever.
Right.
Velodo is how I'm saying it. But his website is called his website is called the4winds.com. So there's a part that I really liked. It says that an unbalanced first chakra manifests in feelings of scarcity and lack. So that's big. And it talks about even those who have a great deal may fear loss of their possessions and build fences to protect what they have from their neighbors, just like mine.
Well, like we saw during COVID, right? And the pandemic, people hoarding toilet paper and water and things like that. Like crazy. That's your root chakras off, because why you need all that? First of all, why they need all that toilet paper, right?
Yes,
so it's like, what was going to happen? But neighbors were hoarding things and people were getting fearful. Like like the shelves were empty, so that was hoarding of food, hoarding of resources, right?
Oh, they also mentioned that the root chakra is related to the testosterone and estrogen hormones. And I thought this was pretty interesting. They said with men, the overdrive of it can be, sex and aggression. And with women, it could be, they can't stop thinking about sex
oh, okay.
Yeah, that's interesting, right?
Yeah.
So it's a lot about like nurturing, getting those powerful feelings nurtured. So it's just, to me, I think a lot of people that have the root chakra block, the biggest one I see is money. The biggest
money is what the biggest one I've seen.
Survival, anything related to survival. Yeah.
Yes.
So with that said, let's move on to the next chakra. We're gonna do the sacral chakra, which is the second chakra. Do you want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah. So the sacral chakra is orange. Its element is water, right? And so this is the one a lot of people love because it's the sexual creativity, right? So this one is really cool because when it's blocked, like your creativity could be down, like you could be bored, you could not really you just feel like a sense of not connected, right? It's like, so and then also not connected to your partner or whoever you're having sex with, whatever. And so it's like all those things, but then once it's imbalanced, it's like, write something. If you want to be a writer, start writing, right? If you want to be, get a coloring book, start coloring, little things
adult
to create.
Book. I like
right.
Yeah, you mentioned
that. Get into that mode of creating, and we're all creators. So no, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just get out there and just write, draw, do whatever, paint.
It's a great form of expression. So yeah, I always said, I said in a previous video, how I have some clients in Dallas that go, is my vagina chakra open? And I'm like, it is not the vagina, first of all, but the womb area is really connected to that. And for instance, I'm a shout out to Baba Pearson, who's a healer he's like Dr. Savior, South Florida. He actually says your womb is your money maker. So like telling you to detox and cleanse, but think about it, the more creative you are, the more you'll be able to make some more money, right?
Right, true.
So it makes a lot of sense to work on that chakra. Also, there's people that can have they could be having a lot of sex and have, be happily married and all that good stuff, but their chakras blocked because their desires are not there. Like they're not really tapping into who they're supposed to be, so it could be something off there. So yeah, just start doing something creative, and you can or if you have like an analytical job. A lot of people I know that have like these really robotic jobs.
So they need that balance. Right.
Yeah. All right, let's work our way up the body to the third chakra, which is the solar plexus. So that color is yellow. What's the element?
So the element is fire, right? So that's your confidence, your power, it's like the sun. It's the sun. That's what I think of when I think of the solar plexus, right? So it's like the power.
I would say power, ego, self-esteem. So usually when I'm working on people and their chakra is blocked, I find that they either have low self-esteem, they're depressed, they're in a funk. Or they could just be drained because everybody else is taking their power. Like, hey, I need some of that. Give me some of that. People that have the problem with saying no usually have a block solar plexus.
Yes, people pleasers, right? Right.
Like,
yes.
Okay, I got it. And then you stress. Then you don't got it.
Right. Exactly.
Everybody else got your energy.
Or you have a lot of energy vampires on you too. So it's like really important to keep that energy clean for that reason.
Right. And that's also related to let's talk about the negative aspect. Well, I just said some of it, but ego inflation is another one. So the narcissist, and a lot of people know them. Some of us live with some, and some of us are family members with some, but the know-it-all,
Right. Yes. The controller, right? The controller.
Freaks, they usually have a very big solar plexus, and the men too. Like we said, a lot of men have their solar plexus open, and like really tough women too,
Yes.
But again, it's not a bad thing to have it open. You want to have it open, but when it's over the top open, then it could be a problem.
Because I find that with a lot of entrepreneurs, when somebody's going to they're going to jump into a new career or a new career path. A lot of the times when they're scared of being seen or things like that, they don't have the confidence. So it's usually the solar plexus that is blocked, right? Because they're just out of tune with that. Like they have a lot of creativity, but they're doing it behind the scenes. And then you get to the solar plexus, they're afraid to go share it with the world. Right.
Yeah. They're afraid of being judged. Another little perk I'll say is for clearing that out is when I work on people on their solar plexus, 9 times out of 10, they have the greatest poop ever. And I say, you're welcome. After I work on them, you can't Reiki with me yet, so you don't know. Got some magic hands here. But a lot of people hold on to a lot of stuff there, and it connects to the actual colon too. Like you really holding on to shit.
Right. Okay.
Right. All right. So let's go to did we cover enough on the third chakra?
I think we did. I think we got a lot in. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the next one is a doozy. The heart chakra. You have a story related to this, right? Yes. I have one too.
So the heart chakra is green, right? Represent green. So that is usually, it's about love. It's about hope. It's your desires. And like, it's how you feel about like surrender, compassion, all those things, right?
Intimacy,
right? So when it's negative, you don't forgive, right? You hold on to stuff.
Grudges.
If you went through a bad divorce, a bad breakup, like betrayal, things like that, right? You can find people that have a blocked heart, right? So I was in a session recently with a man who hasn't talked to his brother in 11 years, right? He is mad at him. He said his brother took him to court 17 times. He's pissed. He's not talking to him,
17 times.
17 times, right? And he had called up his brother. What started is he called up his brother. Their mother was very ill, and he was like, "You need to get here now." The brother's like, "I'm busy," right? So all these things happen, but it's 11 years, right? So he is holding on to this like it like it was yesterday, and all it is doing is affecting him, right?
Yep.
So as I was telling him, like, look, you have to forgive him. You don't have to forgive him for him, but for
Right.
yourself, right? You are going to release so much, and you're going to be able to live, because why are you holding this on for 11 years?
Right. Right.
Like,
It's
what's
so
the
funny.
point?
But did he do anything about it?
He said he'll think about it. That's what he told me. And I said, that is better than how you came in. Because
Right.
when we first started the conversation, he was
He
like,
was
hell
blocked
no.
up.
He
Right.
was like, I'm not doing it. Like, that's him. And I was like, yeah, but just imagine the prison that he is in mentally because he didn't show up.
Right.
And for him to want to
The
hurt you
guilt.
17 times to take you to court, like, who does that? Right.
Right. Right.
So obviously he's in more pain that you don't even need to hold that anymore. Forgive him. He said, I'll think about it.
I think it's funny that your example has 11. Mine has 11 years as well. 11, 11. Ooh.
Wow.
So I was doing Reiki on a friend of mine, and his heart was like, I felt it in my body before I even touched him. And I was like, your heart chakra has been blocked. And I heard in my head, it's been blocked for 11 years. So I said, what happened to you 11 years ago? And he was like, oh, my fiance cheated on me.
Ooh.
So the wedding was off, and they lived together. So it was like,
Oh.
they had a house. And they had to stay in the house with each other because in order to sell it. I forget where they lived. I think it was Jersey. Whatever the law was, they couldn't leave until they sold. I mean, they couldn't sell the house until they lived in it for a year. So imagine the anger he had 11 years ago, and up until then he was still like never wanted a girlfriend, was very guarded against women, or he was like, kind of like a hoe. Let's keep it real.
Right. Hey.
But yeah, and that's the sad part about men is that they're trained to not cry, not to release, not to let things out. So a lot of them are very guarded. Whenever I do Reiki on men, they're very guarded. So yeah, I would tell people that, write a letter to, even leaving your friend there, the client that you have, even if you don't want to talk to the brother ever again, write a letter to him,
right,
rip it up, burn it, get it off your chest.
Right.
Right now you're walking around like a
and sometimes when you're doing tapping on yourself or like even to move it, you can feel it. You can feel the pain like in the heart and how it's tender. So yes, I've had that happen too.
And the biggest connection I tell people to wake them up is that when you don't clear out your chakras or you don't get your energy balanced, it turns into physical stuff later. And 9 times out of 10, like people that have breast cancer, where's that? Right here.
Exactly.
Lung issues, all kind of stuff. It's serious. So it's important to really take care of it. All right. So anything else we can say about the heart chakra? Oh, there's a crystal that people know, the rose quartz. So even though it's the color green, pink also represents, oh, look, I'm representing pink, represents the heart chakra. So yeah, you can use a rose quartz crystal. You can hold it, meditate with it if you want, and focus on your heart chakra. And
I feel like rose quartz is the one everybody knows.
That's what I figured I'd mention.
Yeah, it's a loved one. It's a loved one.
It's a popular one, right? Yes. Anything else we can do? So really the negative side, like you said, is not forgiving, holding on to stuff, holding on to grudges. Also, it could be, there's another thing I like to tell people. You can be like with a family. Let's say I have clients that are husband, wife, and my 3 kids. That's it. Everybody else stay the hell away. I don't want nobody in my circle. So they're very guarded. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So learning to like open up and let people trust again. People that have trust issues usually.
Right. And you can start small, right? But a lot of that has nothing to do. It's trusting yourself, right? Because the more you connect to yourself, you pick up those patterns, right? And you start seeing it. It's really not about trusting somebody else. It's about trusting yourself.
All right. So let's move on to the next one. What's the next one? The throat chakra.
Blue.
The 5th chakra.
Yes.
It's located in the throat. So that one, everybody knows mine is wide open.
That is true, right? Exactly.
Tuck under the table over there. But so the throat chakra is related to expression, communication. It's located in the throat, obviously, but it's related to creativity as well, and manifesting what you want, right. Connected to the thyroid gland, which is, and that's one thing I can tell you happened. I was working on somebody, and actually, the lady I was working on didn't speak English. Her daughter was French, but they were all French. And the daughter had a translator. It was my first time having a Reiki session where I had a translator sitting there.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. But before I even touched her, I felt like somebody choking me. And I was like,
yes.
So then I said, what happened to your mother's throat? And I said, she got anything going on with her throat? And she said, oh, she had thyroid surgery last year or something. And I said, interesting. So we start talking and kind of find out the husband has dementia. So he was there and he kept asking me questions. He would ask me the same question over and over again. Are you from Jamaica? You're from Jamaica? And I was like thinking, like, didn't you ask me 5 minutes ago? So I realized he had dementia. So imagine you're the man you've been with 50 years, you love him to death, but he's driving you crazy, but you can't do nothing because he's sick, So that on top of her being a timid person, had her throat chakra blocked, but then it turned into other stuff because she didn't handle it. So I thought, tell people, it's serious. So tell me some things about the throat chakra. What do you got?
So for me, the color blue, right? It's some negative things are betrayal, like not speaking your truth. Like I've had it where I've worked with clients and you get like, I've gotten a coughing spell or or something like my throat just feels tight. And I'm like, okay, what is it that you need to say that you're afraid to say? Right. And so 9 times out of 10, it's like a difficult conversation. It's like, oh, I'm like in this man's, that I talked to before, it was like, he was mad at his brother. So he needed to have that conversation, right? Or somebody needs,
or write it, like I said,
or write it.
Got to be a conversation,
right?
But sometimes there's stuff that happened with people that died that you can't talk to them no more.
That's very true, very true, right? Right. So things like that, like, and it's just like, if you don't speak your truth, it's going to manifest. I've had it happen before when I first started this work on myself, where it's like, I lost my voice. And couldn't talk and was like, okay, what is this about? Like, am I supposed to sit with this and then be able to say something, put some kind of creativity out into the world, right? Because so yes, I've experienced that as before, but with a lot of clients, it comes in with like coughing or like
choking,
type of thing.
And sometimes you feel it too if you're working on them. They also said the negative expression of it is gossiping, toxicity, betrayal. I thought that was a good one because a lot of people do that. And the throat chakra also, I noticed a lot of people that may be in a bad relationship where they're walking on eggshells at home because they're afraid. They don't want to have an argument. They're like, let me just keep my mouth shut, and then things build up and it makes it worse when you do that. And I like this little line right here. It says the 5th chakra gives voice to the feelings of the heart. It speaks out our love, kindness, and forgiveness. So, it's just, if we work on that, we'll be able to be more clear, more authentic self, So I just think
Right. I feel like it's like if your throat chakra and your heart chakra, right, they're so connected with it. It's like because you open it, it's like if they're both open, like your kind words, right? If you're kind and you say these things that empower and uplift people, right, your heart chakra is open, but you can also say things that are mean and belittling, right? And that's a closed heart as well as, your throat chakra being constricted, right?
That is so true. Because I notice most of the time when I'm working on people and their throat chakra and their heart chakra might be blocked together. And it's usually some relationship stuff. Usually it's my clients that did some digging and they're living with somebody and they found out. I'm like, oh, did you go on his phone? And they're holding on to the evidence and they don't want to come like. I tell people, this is why I write books. I got so much content. All right, so let's talk about the 6th chakra, the third eye, our favorite. So the third eye is intuition. You want to share some of that? Let me pull up. It's about, I would say it's about seeing your truth. So like some people, we have a fear of seeing the truth, right? So we're getting the messages, but we don't want to hear them. We're like, la, 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 I'm stubborn. I don't say everybody, but when it's blocked, that's usually what's happening. The messages are trying to come in from the crown chakra. But the third eye is like is blocked because you don't want to see it. And a lot of clients and students that were afraid of their abilities, so they block it. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to see nothing. I'm good. Like or you think you're crazy. You hear noises. You hear messages, and you think you're making it up.
Right. So the third, it's the color's violet, right? So it's purple or violet. So yes, indigo, and I feel like there's a lot of different colors, and I feel like a lot of times when you block it too, you might experience headaches. I've had headaches when you don't want to
Yes.
and you're like, where is this coming from? What is happening? And it's like, as soon as you start to lean into your intuition and start using it, right, then that subsides.
It's a thing. Google it, y'all. Psychic headaches. I used to get them in the beginning.
Thing.
Yeah. And then I would hear stuff. And then one of my teachers would be like, you don't see that man right there? He's trying to tell you something. I'm like, what man? And because when I first learned all this stuff, I was like, I don't want to see no dead people walking around. I'm good.
Yes. Oh, I have said that out loud. Like, no, nobody did. That's okay.
I don't want to see it. I don't want to see you walking around. I mean, I can, I'm a medium now too, so I could do that.
Yes.
But I don't want to see them walking around in Starbucks or.
No,
I do have friends that can see things just walking around, but I'm good. So I think that was a block. So I used to get headaches in the beginning when messages were trying to come in because I'm like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it.
Right, but, exactly.
Once you learn and connect to it, it won't be so scary. What else could we say about the third eye? The pineal gland, which most people know about that. Yeah.
Right. Right here. Because a lot of people do, like, if it's not in the spiritual world, right, they talk about the pineal gland and like science, right? So you will hear a lot about it and people refer to it. It's probably the strongest. To me, it's like one of the strongest chakras because they talk about it everywhere, right? It's interwoven in our society, but they act like it's not real, but it's so blatantly out there to us,
So I like this line, how it says this is pretty interesting, how they talk about, make sure I'm reading this right. Oh, I'm on the wrong chakra, sorry. I would say, because they're almost connected. I was like, this is not the third eye. I started reading it like, wait a minute. So I would say when it's blocked, like pretty much what I just said earlier, like when it's blocked is when you're in denial of seeing the truth of things.
Right. Cynicism. Right. You're not connected. You don't trust yourself too. When this is blocked, like you might get a hunch and you're like, oh no, I'm wrong. Right. And then it's like, oh no, if you trust your intuition and you trust what that third eye is showing you, right, you will, then everything else lines up too. That's another one. Yes.
Synchronicities, that things that would be like, oh my God, like somebody asked me the other day, how can we have so many synchronicities? Because I was like, because I listen, I'm paying attention.
Exactly. Right.
Like, I still freak out a little bit, but I don't freak out like as much as before. Like now I'm just like, I knew that.
More I get excited about it instead of like, oh, I'll be like, oh, did you see
that? Yeah. Like I was just talking about that and then bam, it happened, All right, so let's talk about the crown chakra now. We're wrapping it up. The seventh chakra is located at the top of your head.
We have a little story for you on the intuition when, like you think things. Yeah, with the third eyes, when you think things. So I was watching Queen Sugar. Yes, I was. So shout out to that. And they were talking about a particular song, right? And so I was like, wait, I know that author, but I couldn't figure out who it was because they didn't announce it. So I turned the show off and then turned something else on, and the answer was in that show of who they were talking about in the previous show. And when I say that, and Queen Sugar is 2022, this was 19 in the 90s.
Whoa, I love when
the show. Yeah. So I was like, wait, how did that happen? And it was the answer to who they were talking about in that in 2022. So it was bizarre, but that's how things are when your third eye is open, right? Yes. And you listen to those kind of things.
Yeah, you don't get. It's just like the messages are just thrown at you. All right, so let's talk about the seventh chakra, the crown chakra. And I always tell people to think of the chakras like a plumbing system. So like a funnel right here. So all the messages coming in from God, spirit guides, ancestors, everybody. And then when that's blocked, you don't hear nothing. You're like, la, la, la. And then third eye is even more blocked when that's blocked. You know what I mean?
Right.
So my clients that I noticed that watch, sorry, no offense, but yeah, listen, watch reality TV all day, TV news, just junk all day in their brain.
Yes.
They don't take enough time for themselves. There's no meditation. There's no everybody to take care of the kids, take care of everybody else. You're usually blocked because you're not connected. And I'm not saying you got to be like a holy person and pray all day, but it's just having a little bit of moment for yourself. That's what I noticed, at least in my experience from doing Reiki and doing readings. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, like when I think of the crown chakra, I think like a white light coming down, like it's just white, or it could also be like an indigo. And I just feel like it's like when the top of your head just opens up, so you really are connecting to something outside of yourself. So when that is, I think it's like that's the ripple effect. Like if that's closed, you're like you said, you're not going to get the intuition. You're not going to feel connected to anything outside of you, right? It's like a disconnect all around.
Right.
So like once, like prayer, meditation, all of those things, but it helps you feel connected, grounded. It goes all through you. So if you're not connected here, you're not going to be connected anywhere else. I feel that's what I feel like. But I also feel like it's like you have especially with intuitives like ourselves, like sometimes the third eye and the crown chakra could be so wide open that their root chakra is not open. They all
you
over
read
the
my
place.
mind.
Like they all over the place.
Like the extra hippies. They're not grounded. It's like come back to earth with the rest of us,
Exactly.
And funny enough, I've been the last few years, I have to cover my head when I work on people. I feel like my head is spinning. It's like not in a bad way, but it's just like overwhelming. So and I've been meeting other people that are like, yeah, you need to cover your head. Like you're very intuitive. You're picking up stuff. A psychic on the street said that to me one time. Like, can't say, hey, you're an empath. Cover your head. I'm like, what?
But how like you used to go out as a kid with a hat on, right? Your mom always says protect your head, right? Because it's serious, like your head is open. That's where people like they throw hexes at you, like at your third eye and stuff. No, it's true. So, and you also have to cleanse it. Like I know there is there's coconut washes where you can make sure you clean the crown and things like that to keep it open.
Right. Well, let's just, now that we went through all the major chakras, let's just kind of give a few general tips on what you can do to keep your chakras open. So when you said the cleansing, you just made me think of Epsom salt or sea salt baths. Especially if you do any kind of spiritual work, and even if you just work with people all day, like hairdressers, y'all be up in somebody's crown chakra all day. So therapists, like people that have heavy jobs, school counselors, whatever, y'all need to be cleansing your energy every day if you can. And if you can't take a bath every day, which is pretty hard for a lot of people, take a shower and then use Epsom salt like a body scrub and just and then rinse off and just clear it out. So it's supposed to help clear your energy.
Because a lot of times I'll do the like essential oils, some coconut oil, and like you said, the Epsom salt, and then just be in the tub, but then also just kind of imagining or visualizing that all the negativity is going down the drain in the shower.
Right. And I tell people when you do take a bath to stay in the tub when it's draining out, and like picture when when the water sucks out. Like everybody just goes out there with
exactly.
Reiki, of course, I'm going to plug because obviously I'm a Reiki master, so that's what I do. So definitely, if you can get a Reiki practitioner, whether it's in person or distant.
Yes,
listening, I'm pointing to myself.
Yes. Also, another thing that I use to clean my energy to keep it clear is selenite. I have a selenite wand that I use, and selenite is the one wand that it's like pretty neutral and it cleans everything. So that's a good barrier. So I just take it and run it down my body, start from my shoulders all the way down, under your feet, because that's grinding. And just get it. That dry brushing is another good one. Yes.
No, funny you say selenite, because when I do Reiki, I use that, and people, when their eyes are closed, they feel the energy. It actually feel like a whoosh, coming off of them. If you can get to acupuncturists, please do. They're great as well. That helps balance all your meridians, chakras. Breath work is huge. I intertwine breath work in my Reiki, so doing some deep breaths. Just
sound is another good one too, like the crystal balls.
Yes.
Crystal bowls. Sorry, not crystal balls, but crystal bowls
on your mind.
Crystal bowls. And they have really good ones, because I know you have sent me in the past ones from YouTube. So you don't even need the crystal balls, the bowls themselves. You can have just the sound. And bells are really good for clearing chakras too.
Yes. And it's funny you say YouTube, because that's my next point. Daily meditation. Because a lot of people go, well, I don't have time to meditate. There's 5-minute chakra balancing on YouTube. I'll put a link if I need to. There's so many different ways you can meditate that are guided, because a lot of people think, oh, I have to be my brain, I can't think. That's the whole point of guided meditation. It helps guide you through the process.
But I also look at meditation when I wake up, I'll just sit there in silence. It's not really it's just that intention to kind of think, right? But then you're washing dishes. When you're washing dishes, sometimes you just zone out and meditate.
Right.
It doesn't have to be that hard. You don't have to ohm it out and sit on a cushion and all that.
Well, think about it. Just writing, journaling is a form of meditation, which is I highly recommend journaling every day if you can. Kind of get things, set the intention for the day, get some things off your mind. And then also yoga helps open up your chakras.
Yes.
Because even after you get Reiki or acupuncture, any of these things, they can close back up. Don't think, oh, I got Reiki,
Yeah.
I'm good for the whole year. No, it doesn't work like that.
No,
You gotta
it
do
doesn't work like
maintenance.
that.
It's called self-work is hard, so you gotta do it, every day. So
Or so you
well,
can dance it out. You can dance it out with
ooh,
music.
I
Because
like that one.
music is
Yes.
really helpful too.
Helps open up things. But yeah, I did want to say about yoga. I remember in yoga, there's a position, I forget which one it is. I think it's sun salutation. It opens up the heart.
Okay.
But I've seen people break down and cry in yoga, and they don't even know why, because they're holding on to so much stuff. But when you
Oh,
open up,
wow.
yeah, it releases things. So yeah, try some of these things out, y'all. You got some good tips.
Yes.
We'll come back with another topic soon. So stay tuned for Chakra. I really love this show, Chakra Chronicles. Then we can share some fun, juicy stories in the next one as well. So keep it locked on Own Your Power Radio and Own Your Power TV. Please make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell. Make sure you comment if you have any comments. And Angela, anything else you want to say?
You can find me at I am Angela Armstrong on Instagram or my website, angeladrmstrong.com.
Thank you. Yes. And you can find me at ownyourpower.biz, and on Instagram, I'm Own Your Power, and Own Your Power Now on TikTok. So make sure you follow us, and we'll be looking forward to hearing your feedback on the show and find out what topics you'd like us to cover in the next show. So remember, Own Your Power Network is a network. It's not just a show. We have several different shows. So Chakra Chronicles is one of them. All right, keep it locked and keep that energy flowing. Yes. Remember, anything you want is attainable. Own your power.